Hey, what's up, guys? This is Colin with Music City, and I got two things to tell you. One, I think I made the worst coffee of my entire life today. Absolutely disgusting. So just know as I'm recording this, I've got tears in my eyes because I'm not one to waste. Second, I want to show you today how to make some very, very, very organic sounds within Serum. So really making the leads as lush and as beautiful as possible. This is a process which I know I've discussed a couple times on here, but I really do love playing with sound design like this. I think it's my favorite way to make sounds. And any sound that I can pull out of Serum that feels very earnest and mysterious and hypnotic, I think I think is a true testament to someone who understands a good amount of sound design. And yes, I know I work within the very aggressive side of sound design a lot of the time, but this is where things get really pretty. Okay, so let's get into it. So I think people who want to make like really pretty Serum soundscapes, by the way, I already wrote down some MIDI. Okay, so I think, as I was gonna say, I think a lot of people who want to make pretty kind of soundscape sounds often will do a process a lot like this where they make a pluck and then they really focus on the delay and the reverb. I think those get us about 30 to 40% of the way. Really randomizing the sound and each sound as it hits is what really leads to winners, in my opinion. So I'm going to do a couple things to create that. So kind of a very open format today, but I'm just going to kind of produce as I go and try and figure out what the sound is asking me from it. I feel like this art in itself, or not art, but this kind of shape from the envelope is already too dramatic. There we go. A new effect in Serum 2 called Bode does this kind of spectral blur. Oh my god, it's so cool. And maybe if I'll animate that, or not animate, automate. And then even take this chaos LFO that we now get in Serum 2 and just make a little slow adjustment over time. Get it to a point where it's not detuning too much. I think a little legato would also help. And I always talk about this Note On Discrete, and I think I've gone a little bit into it before tutorials. Today, I'm gonna go absolutely bonkers. You guys are gonna know where this is no matter what. Right-click any envelope, any knob, or any control in Serum, and then just go mod source, Note On Random Discrete. And then if we go into our matrix here, we can see every note gets a different value. Which is pretty cool. I'm gonna send a sine wave into bus 1. Why am I forgetting how to do this? Here we go. Into bus 1. So it's still summing into bus 2, but I'm gonna do some little effects on it. First things first, I want our sine wave to pitch up 5 semitones, but I want Note On Random Discrete to be the determiner to do that. So meaning sometimes we get 5 semitones up, sometimes we don't. And so to do that, I'm just gonna do what we always do, mod source, Note On Random Discrete. But you can see it's playing random notes every time, and I don't want it to do that. So how I'm gonna solve this is A, find that 5 semitone pocket, make this so it only goes up and down. Or be polar instead of bipolar on the automation type. And then I'm going to go into here, into our mod curve, just double click. And I'm actually just gonna make a brick wall. Maybe we'll go 7. I wonder if we do 4. Nah. I think we have the most success within 7. And then let's also do that onto the volume of our sine wave. Yeah, that's cool. And then, as I always love to do it, I like to do this onto the wavetable itself. Very nice. So pretty. A little bit of organic analog hums or analog noises from physical machines. I can't remember where, but I remember seeing Steve Duda talk about it before. Enable pitch tracking. Find kind of a happy spot for that. Another classic move I do, grab the noise oscillator up here and then make it a modulator. So the louder the noise gets, the higher in pitch. If we were to put it on the coarse pitch here, our sound gets. And because it plays so quick, it just adds this really natural detuning. I want to hear how this sounds exactly on our sine wave. Sine wave is absolutely gorgeous. I want to bring it out a little bit more. Oh wait, that's not what I meant to do. I actually want to do the volume. And then if we want to influence the volume happening a little bit more, we can actually just change the curve right here, the mod 6 source curve. You'll see a lot more often it's kind of at the top or past the 50% point. I really, really love when we make these kind of ambient works. Moments where the filter opens up a lot more and then moments when it doesn't. So let's go ahead, get our boy Note On Random Discrete. And then I'm going to make it pretty rare for the filter to just randomly pop open. And then this envelope 1 kind of moves a little bit fast every once in a while, in my opinion. So I'm going to find the... And this is one thing that kind of bugs me about the Serum matrix. It's awesome how it builds itself out, but I really do prefer the tables like in Ableton's wavetable matrix. Here we go, envelope 1 decay. I just gotta use my eyes. It's really my fault. Add it to the attack as well. Absolutely sick. Let's take this a step further and start doing a little bit of sampling. I'm gonna grab a vocal 1 shot, see what pops up. Nothing great yet. I know I have a Billie Eilish acapella I come back to quite a lot. And we're just gonna find a note in this acapella that we really like. One where she doesn't move in pitch too much. Let's go and add this to... We could do sample, but I think granular is a little bit more lush. And then if I just turn that off for now. And then let's go back to our main sound. Here we go. And so the granular is pretty interesting. By turning our sound from 1 shot to manual, we can actually change the position that we start from. Very fret again, which is my inspiration when it comes to pretty much all the sounds in this timbre. You already knew it. We're going Note On Random Discrete. Do that there. Actually, we're just not going to make that bipolar. So it sounds a little skippy or granular-y, and that's because we're not having any kind of randomness or picking out different grains. We're playing the same grain again and again and again and again. 2 things we can do to tackle this. Number 1, we can just change the direction random a little bit. and the offset as well as the unison. Maybe less grains as well. And maybe go up an octave. And I might try and tune this just a little bit more. Oh, nice. My coffee somehow tastes worse, so we're gonna just move past that. So another kind of trick I normally do is I'll actually throw the noise on the cutoff of the filter. And we can just hear a little bit of extra graininess every time the note attacks, even if it's really soft. Something you very easily can do is actually just add these notches in the EQ. I added this little bass as well just to kind of create an underlayer. But on this EQ notch, I'm just going to move the frequency up and down. I think I picked the wrong one. Whoops. So that's obviously too fast. I'll just make it quite a bit slower. Convolvers can be nuts for making things a lot more lush. I'm going to add this convolver to the high end. This one's so cool. Maybe add some extra sub. So cool. And if I don't want any phasing with the sub, I can just take out the first fundamental in the wavetable editor here. And now you can see when I remove the sub, we just lose that bottom harmonic, our fundamental. I can really balance it from there. And look at all these harmonics jumping around. So sick. And if you feel like some of these are jumping around too much or they're overwhelming the fundamental, we can just grab a soothe. Do a really sharp cut. Yep, that's to not get that harmonic, that lowest fundamental there. Or maybe this is it here. Not hitting the second one nearly enough. There we go, beautiful. Look at how in the pocket that lower one is. Or really attenuating everything above it. What's pretty sick is that we can actually use Serum as a sampler and make some really, really, really organic sounds with it. So let me just change it to sample mode. Let me grab the kick that I wanted to use. This one here. Maybe I'm just gonna make the tail a little shorter. Just kind of make it a pop in the mix. I'm able to turn down the velocity of each of these kicks, and I can actually make the velocity affect the volume. Noise affect the pitch just a little bit. Just make it a little grainier. Let me add our velocity to a filter maybe. And I can actually take the kick itself and make the kick sample, oscillator A, modulate the level. I'm going to have this feed into filter 2. And then on filter 2, I'm going to use really any of our flange filters, maybe like comb, and do mod source, note, random discrete. And really just find a way to mess with the high end to make every single one a little bit more unique. Cool. Let me duplicate the Serum and then just add a clap on our 2s and 4s. And then I'm just gonna look up samples of sticks and I'm gonna throw it into a granulator. And now every time this clap hits, we get kind of a different tail. I'm gonna add to this cymbal loop I just added, RC20. This is like a analog modeled distortion plugin. See how much it will change the sound. Yeah, someone just like crunching into leaves can be really cool to build up into a clap. One of the last things I want to show you guys is actually just taking a convolver and then just finding any super organic sample. So we can just type in Foley. I want to find one with some cool tails, like this one here. You can see how our sound ends up having these really interesting and like fluffy amplitudes. Definitely pull some resonances out that I'm not a huge fan of, and you can just kind of find a sweet spot with the tone and the size and all the controls that Serum 2 gives you. Maybe we can find a different one too. Ooh, something like this. Cool, and then once we have something really rich, I say re-record. Cool, and then there's two ways that you can kind of play with the sample that I really suggest. You can get really cool chops like this, if you want to go all the way across, like that. Or maybe I'll even go faster. Maybe OTT this. And then I don't like the click, so I'm gonna redo some of these chops like this. Only want that many chops. And then these get especially cool if you pitch them up with complex or pitch them down. So I think that's pretty much it for today's tutorial. Lots of beautiful stuff that you can do within Ableton just by splicing stuff up, get some really lush synths to start, and you can just get some results that are super cool. This loop right here would make a really cool sample or kind of melody for a rap beat even. So you can take music, you know, many, many, many different ways. And yeah, as long as you're having fun with it, that's where you win. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Peace.